There's been a lot of talk and chatter and speculation of a second civil war in America. And we put out a video recently titled Who Would Win the Second Civil War? And mostly we focused on just the dynamics of the red and the blue. What were those big dynamics? A lot of them being, the left tends to alienate strong men. Whereas in the right tends to encourage men to be strong. That's very significant. A lot of people on the right are literal warriors, whereas in the left tends to be more social warriors. Whereas in the left's also going to control a lot of the infrastructure as far as the technology goes, and they'll probably control some coastlines. So there's a lot of variables. I'm going to put the link to that video because I don't want to get into that. I want to focus on, well, where will the war be? Because there's red and blue people in every state. So where will the front lines be? I believe strongly that there will be some definitive front lines, and that's what this video is about. So we're just going to kind of take this video and we're just going to go around the country and talk about what's going to be going on if there was a second civil war. And I'm going to break this down into West Coast warfare, Southwest warfare, Midwest warfare, mountain warfare, and East Coast warfare. Because all these places have different dynamics and they all have reasons that they will be fighting over them. So let's start with West Coast warfare. In the Washington and Oregon area, a lot of what you have is the cities and the suburbs are very blue, which is why the state tends to vote that way. However, once you get out in the country, it's very red. It changes a lot. So those country folks aren't just going to let those states fall. So I believe when it comes to Oregon and Washington, what you're going to see is you're going to see that the coasts all the way to probably Yakima, Warm Springs, even as far east as Spokane, will be a heavy effort to be controlled by the blue. Everything from Spokane, Idaho, east is obviously going to be very red. When you get down to California, I believe you're going to be dealing with the same thing. However, California is going to be the biggest prize to the blue, and they will keep it at all costs. So I believe California is going to quickly go blue because I believe if that's the only place that blue holds, they will hold California strongly. So I believe California is going to go blue super fast. Now, I want to kind of talk about the Southwest for a little bit because the Southwest has been turning very purple. And you kind of have Texas, and we're going to come to Texas a little later as well. But I believe if you drew a line from Las Vegas, Phoenix to Albuquerque, everything north of there is going to be red and heavily contested because of Colorado, and we'll come back to Colorado as well. Everything south of there is going to be blue, driven by just the state of California primarily to really hold those cities, primarily Las Vegas, Phoenix, Albuquerque, to hold the cities specifically. Now, Colorado is pretty blue, and essentially what you have is you have a blue state surrounded by red states, so it's going to be highly contested as well. So this Southwest fight could go as far north as Colorado Springs, because Colorado Springs on down south is very blue, is very hippie-like. You go Denver on north, it's very red, all the way through Wyoming. So I believe that the red will hold Denver. Denver's going to be extremely important to the red because the red's going to be holding the Midwest. And Denver is your key to going east and west and north and south through the Rocky Mountains. Whoever holds Denver is going to hold a key route east and west for sure, north and south as well. Whoever holds Denver has that key to north, south, east, west through the Rocky Mountains. And that will be red. Red will grab it quick. because they're going to have Montana, Wyoming. I mean, they're going to have everything around there. Kansas, Missouri. I mean, we can go on and on why Denver's going down fast. But the blue will push hard as far as Colorado Springs. Depends on how successful people are. Again, go back and watch the first video, and a lot of it will depend on that. I also believe Colorado is going to be extremely important to blue because of all of the California money that's going to Colorado. But I do believe Denver will be a hold at all cost for red. So there's no way that that town's going blue, in my opinion, at first. It's definitely going to be a front line. If we look at the Midwest, North, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Iowa, Arkansas, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Indiana, are all pretty safe red. And that's going to be the key to the red success. Again, go back to watch the first video, is controlling the natural resources in all those regions is very, very significant to their success. So I don't believe the Midwests are necessarily going to be front lines, so to say. I think they're going to be safe havens at first. Well, again, blue everywhere, blue and red everywhere. So I don't think anything's safe at first. But when things begin to hold, I believe you'll be safe in the Midwest if you're, of a red person. Now, if we look at the Great Lakes, this is where it's going to get fairly complicated. I believe Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh on north are going to be blue. I believe, if you drew a line from Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati to Pittsburgh, I think everything north of there is going to be blue. I think everything south of there is going to be red until you get to the east. Now, all these front lines are also assumed that we're in the current political state that we are right now. Now, I believe everything northeast of, if you drew a line from Pittsburgh to Richmond, everything northeast of there is going to be blue. Pretty quick. Again, nothing is going to be blue or red at first because there's blue or red people everywhere. But when holds begin, those are going to be blue. All right, Texas. I think Texas is a little more complicated than people might think because, again, I believe much of the Southwest is going to be blue. So if you look at Texas, which is very quickly becoming very purple, again, because of the California money, kind of like Colorado, but more California money in Texas. But I believe that it's ultimately going to go to red because it's going to be heavily contested. I think just routes east and west and into the south, into South America, into Central America. I believe Texas is going to hold and is going to be kind of like California to the blue, but maybe more important than Denver to the red. Hold Texas at all costs. A lot of it has to do with the oil. A lot of it has to do with the oil. All right, Hawaii, it's going to be blue, but I think they're just going to be in this strange world that is going to have a lot of problems that are unpredictable. Alaska, I think it's going to stay red, but you're going to have pockets of resistance in Alaska because it's Alaska. The blue have nowhere to go. If they decide they're going to stick around there, they're going to stick around in pockets of resistance. Like, I think overall the government of Alaska will be run by red, but I do believe strongly that in the end, there's going to be like its own little civil war going on in Alaska that's unlike anything we're seeing anywhere else. So there you go, just kind of in a quick summary, there's what I believe the front lines of the second Civil War would be if there happens to be a second Civil War during this current political status. So any thoughts or insight on any of that, definitely put it below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel with Patreon. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.